Hi everyone, Karina Linhares here, the life graph specialist. In this video, we are gonna talk a little bit about what. So, some of the questions we already told you on the previous videos is, what is the life graph? What this life graph session is all about. So, one thing you need to know is, in regards to a life graph, is how we measure the things. What makes the life graph a visual for you? How you put your emotions in a graph. So those questions are very sensitive and very common before someone goes through a life graph session. So something important for you to know first is life graph is based on measurements. What are those measurements? We measure something called flow. There is flow and there is energy. So what we do, and there's a video about energy flow, flow and energy, what's the difference in between. But very shortly, the flow measures something that it's constant. It's always there, no matter the timeline, right? And the energy is something that it's there, but at some point something generates that energy, right? And some things end up or transform that energy in something else. With the flow, doesn't work like that. The flow is always there. It's always been there. You can change, you can manipulate, let's say, the flow, but it's always there since all times. So that's shortly the difference between the flow and energy. So I measure the flow from birth to the date, year by year, and then I put in a graph, and then you will see some important change on that flow in your lifetime. And those changes, they are mostly things that you affected your flow by some way, for good or for bad. I don't like to use good or bad, but just for you to understand. So those changes in your flow can be measured, and I do that. So I present you your life graph with those curves, and this is what it is, basically, the life graph. And those measurements, the flow measurements, will help us to identify where in a lifetime we've been challenged the most, like emotionally, physically, things that were happening in our lives that is in our subconscious mind and our conscious mind, both. Because sometimes, of course, you don't remember what you were feeling or what was happening when you were 1 year old, right? Or when you were in the your mom's womb. You don't know that, right? So the life graph can identify what was going on and what your subconscious mind was observing from, the environment you were living in. Doesn't matter when, because a life graph can go in different timelines. So it's always in the present time, let's say. Even though we have a timeline in chronological way, it can go beyond time, where the time doesn't exist, let's say that. But this is too complicated, so we don't talk about it now. The most important thing is for you to know that there's a correlation between those curves, those ups and downs, why you have sometimes repetitive cycles in your life, and all this that we collected in your life graph and we do it together, we will prepare or get all the information we need to reframe it on the reframing section. So life graph is a graph that measures your flow, and those flows has to do with things that you are challenged the most in your life, emotionally, physically, doesn't matter. It will be there, it will show you, and this year at this time you had your flow low. Why is that? And then we go year by year to see and measure how your flow is, and the change that you need the most will be showing in there, like why you are now in a need to change, in a need to get rid of things or to improve other things, why you have those as part of you that you need to change. So that's what a life graph is, and I hope you understand a little bit. So if you have questions, comments, you can do it here on this video, or you can email me, you can DM myself, or there are other ways that you can contact me for more information. So thanks for watching. We are connected.